to showcase His goodness, His grace, and His power. And if He could use this 3,000 pesos boat, He can use your yacht. He can use your ocean liner. He can also use your boat. So the question today is, who is the Lord of your life? Who is in your boat? This is something I want to leave with all of you. For us to pause and think. 我人要赚了偌多钱，要帮助国家家顺，咱也无将比钱较重要物件帮助伊，无落去。钱开会了的啊，搁较几十亿、几千万，伊若袂晓还钱，三马古的钱就开了了。And they can easily squander the fortune that we leave behind. You can leave billions, and if they don't know how to handle the wealth, they will surprise you at how fast they can squander that. But when you can leave behind a boat that has been made available to Jesus, you will be surprised. What you leave behind is more than what money can buy. 咱所要帮助家孙的，是金钱所无法能买的 ，and it will flow from one generation to the next. 咱所要帮助家孙的福分，会对一代传给一代，各一代，因为咱所要帮助伊的金钱富贵。Today, as you go home later, I hope you will go and reflect and ask yourself, who's using my boat? Has my boat been dried up for a while? Is my boat only limited to catching fish, and when I'm not catching fish, I don't use it? Or are we willing to let God use your boat and let Him surprise you? And the first beneficiary of that will be you and your family. Chinese prioritizes family. People say Chinese are very clannish. But if we allow God to change us, we will surprise. In closing, I want to share this very quick testimony. My mother was a devout Buddhist at the age of 13 years old. When he found out I became a Christian, she would beat me up. When I brought home the Bible, feather duster. After each session, parang may sabong, may puros balahibo ng manok eh. That's why when I got married and I have my family, I said, rule number 1, no more feather duster. So kung tao ko, bukwa kikoy manchunya, I hate that. And kung ko, my mom has developed hitting me into an art. You know, as a young man, no matter how obedient you were, nobody in his right mind would stand and let your mother beat you up, right? So, if my mom would beat me up, I'll run. So my mom would grab my ear and lift it up. Of course, I don't want to separate from my ear, so I had no choice but to follow and tiptoe. And then when he beat me, I will follow the direction of my ear. So we would swing around like ballet, simply because I did not want to depart from my ear. That was how difficult it was to be the first Christian in my clan. Like what I said, my mother was illiterate. So I could not open the Bible and teach her the Bible. But she started noticing the invisible man in my life. There was a time when I went bankrupt. You know, Chinese, when you buy rice, I ran out of money, so I was buying half a kilo, 1 kilo, and she was so angry. She was saying, "You are so irresponsible. It's better off during the Japanese occupation. We had rice. Now, just when I'm 75 years old, you bring home half a kilo of rice. You're very irresponsible." And she was so angry, she started telling me, I'll give you a trivia. She started telling me, buisit, buisit. How many of you know that buisit is a Chinese word? Huh? You don't know? Pure would know. Buisit comes from the Chinese word bu-i-sit. Nothing to wear, nothing to eat. Bu-i-sit, that becomes buisit. When you have nothing to wear and nothing to eat, buisit ka. So that was how, so he was saying buisit, buisit, very angry with me. And finally I said, "What's on this pa?" I said, "My business went bankrupt." He said, "Chua, what to do?" I said, "Lankito." She blew her, she was so angry. She said, and she cussed me and said, "Yao Xiu, Kito, can you eat prayer?" So I just left the house. What do I do? 2 hours later, my wife was looking for me and said, "Hey, our friend sent 2 sacks of rice to us. And it's not ordinary rice. It's your favorite, dinorado." You know, when you have no money, mataas ang pride mo, di ba? So I said, "Magkano yun?" As if I could pay. And they said, no, it's for us. I said, "Why 2 sacks? Maybe 1 sack belonged to the other friend who's our neighbor." He said, "Both sacks were yours." My mother saw that. My mother saw that. A devout Buddhist saw that. At the age of 75 years old, whenever my mother would visit our relatives in Binondo, my mother was the matriarch of the clan. So whenever she visits, all the relatives will run to ask for her advice. And here's what my mother will tell them if they come to her with major problems. You go to my daughter-in-law and my son and ask them to pray for you. Their God answers prayer. So my Buddhist mother encountered the one in our boat, and he became our resident evangelist. I could not convince her intellectually because she was illiterate, but she saw the reality. I did not have to win the debate or argue with her. She just saw the faithfulness of God. At the age of 80 years old, after 67 years of being a devout Buddhist, on her own, she said, "I want your Jesus." And she got to live up to 90 years old. Today is the 30th anniversary of my father. As I said, he was the original, one of the early atheists, long before atheism became fashionable. But 1 month before he died, my wife led him to the Lord. You know how? When she shared the gospel and my father said, "No!" And tears came out of my wife's eyes. And she was saying, "Why are you crying? Di ka nalahaw, di ka nalahaw, baksaya, di nanghaw, di nanghaw." Because my father thought may kota siya sa church that dapat dinadala sa simbahan. Nung nalaman niya, no, that I don't care if you go to church or not. I just want you to know my Lord. She was touched. He was touched. The hardened atheist, chain-smoking, drinking, womanizing father gave his life to the Lord. Gave his life. All because nobody preached to her.
Him.
But he encountered the one in our boat. Who is in your boat tonight? I pray that you make that decision